Officials at a Kentucky church said this week that they knew their pastor was a registered sex offender when they hired him, and now he is facing even more charges for allegedly, repeatedly raping a 14-year-old member of the congregation. The Gallatin Police Department in Kentucky said in a statement that 46-year-old pastor Neal Yocum had been arrested on charges of aggravated statutory rape, sexual battery by an authority figure, statutory rape by an authority figure, and fugitive from justice, according to the Tennessean. Yocum is accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old boy once inside New Gospel Outreach Church in Scottsville, Kentucky, and once at his own home in Gallatin, Tennessee. The pastor was required to register as a sex offender, a violent sex offender, after being found guilty back in 2005 of abusing an 8-year-old boy in Kentucky. So why did the church hire Yocum? Well, the church interim pastor, Stephen Bratcher, told WZTV that he was shocked to hear of the allegations, that the church did know he was a registered sex offender, but that the church determined that the previous allegations of sexual assault were false, going on to say, you know, about the legality, the troopers over at the Bowling Green Post said that they contacted the sex offenders branch and said there's nothing illegal about it. I don't even understand what that means. If he was convicted, what does that mean? There's nothing illegal about hiring a sex offender? And then they said, we're firm believers. This is the key line. We're firm believers in the Bible. So if God's forgiven you, then we're in no position to treat you otherwise. How do you check with God to find out if he has forgiven someone that is a prospective hire at your place of work? How do you check with God?
You don't, David. The person has to check with God, and clearly God told this guy that he was forgiven. He told the church, and the church believed it.
The next time, I would suggest the church get a written notice. They should get a permission slip from God, just to be sure.
Signed.
Yeah, they need it to be signed. Kids are unnecessarily dying from lack of treatment because of religion. Kids are pastors are dying from snake bites. They believe God wants them to handle these snakes. Kids are being raped by pedophiles who have been forgiven by God, so they're okay to hire at another church. At some point, these religious zealots need to learn that just because they've concocted some interpretation of a so-called religious text doesn't mean that there's any connection to reality and that you'll be spared from the real-world consequences of these incredibly ridiculous decisions.
Unfortunately, that book is their reality. So, David, you're not going to see any changes.
As a side note, WSMV reported that in 2011, a church pastor, a previous pastor of this same church, Billy Minix, was charged with embezzling $300,000. Interesting church. I would stop my tithes immediately if I were you.